Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the February 10th, 2023 meeting of the Palm Beach County Planning Commission. May we have a roll call, please, and see who's in attendance?
Yes, that'll be me today.
Hi, me.
Okay, Sarah Pardue, John Carr, Rick Stopik,
Here.
Barbara Roth,
Here.
Dagmar Bros,
Here.
Jane Isberg, Penny Pompey, Sam Caliendo, Spencer Siegel, Lori Vanacore,
Here.
Kylie Harper Larson,
Here.
Ankur Patel,
Here.
Angela Van, and David Searle. And we have quorum. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Please all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, John's here. Okay, cool.
And then we'll just have the record reflect that John Carr is in attendance.
Thank you. Proof of publication we have.
Yes, Chair, we do.
Thank you, sir. Any postponements or agenda issues that we have to talk about?
We do not.
Thank you. Moving on, consideration of the minutes from the January 13th meeting. Someone would like to make a motion to approve?
I'll second the motion.
So good. And all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Chair will abstain since I wasn't here at that meeting. Okay. Any comments by the public? I have no comment cards from anybody for any issues at this point. So nothing there? Cool. Comments from the chair. Just again, my apologies for missing the last meeting, which was, I understand, quite the marathon. I had a very uncooperative gallbladder at that time, so happy to be back with you guys, and I appreciate Lori and Barb jumping in and taking care of the ship. Like to welcome new member, Ankur Patel, to the commission, and I understand Sam Caliendo will be joining us, but is not in attendance today, so welcome to the new members. So having gone through those two items, move right on to item 3A1, the Soma Medical.
Okay, and we will begin with a presentation by the applicant, followed by a presentation by Jorge Perez with the Planning Division.
Lori, do you want to run the clock? What do you want? Okay. Or you know what? I'll move over one. What do you want? There you go. Perfect. Thank you. Okay. Thank you. 20. 20 for presentation, correct?
It's up to the chair.
Oh. You need 20?
No.
15. Easy enough. Well,
Maybe 40. Maybe 45.
Can.
No. I'll be very brief.
Thank you.
Okay, as brief as I can, but I do want to go through the presentation. Good morning, Mr. Chairman and Planning Commissioners. My name is George Gentile. I'm president of 2GHO Inc. We are landscape architects planners. We're representing Sonoma Investments. They're a medical office development company. They deal just in medical and dental facilities. And so I'm going to go through my presentation. We're here today for a small-scale comprehensive plan amendment and on a 1.66 acre property. So I'll go through it very quickly so that we can get going. This is our team that's working on the project, just so you get a breath of who is involved with the project, from our civil engineer, traffic engineers, and you see some familiar faces up there. So we're asking for a comprehensive plan amendment of 1.66 acres of land from low residential, 1 DU per acre, to commercial low office with a low residential of 1 DU per acre. And rezoning application is concurrently going through, and I'll show you where we are on that, from agricultural residential to commercial low office, and a conditional use A for a medical and dental office use only. We did go to the Zoning Commission for a public hearing on the commercial low, and it's being recommended for approval to the Board of County Commissioners. We're here today for the land use amendment, and then we will continue on February 23rd, hopefully, to get all the items ratified for the entitlements for the property. This is the site. It is on the west side of State Road 7. About a quarter of a mile north of Lantana Road. You see the Target Commercial Center and continued commercial on the other side of State Road 7. There's an industrial zoning immediately to the south of the property, and there's residential in there. We're proposing a very small one-story medical office and dental office area, which we think will be appropriate to provide walkability for the residents and very good location and very low intensity to the area. On the left is the current land use, which I indicated, which is LR1, low residential 1DU. You can see the commercial land uses on the around the property to the north also, and the industrial park that's to our south. And then we're asking for a modification consistent with everything happening from the intersection of Lantana and State Road 7 for the low commercial low office. This is our proposed site plan. I know that you all typically don't get into site plans, but I thought it would be appropriate since it is concurrently going through. It's a single-story medical office, about 93,000 square feet, with the parking and landscaping that you see State Road 7 to the east. This is the criteria that's on there. It's, again, one story. We required 50 parking spaces. We're providing the 52. Appropriately landscaped and buffering the project. And we are providing, as you can see, because one of your conditions is for us to have access through the parking lot to the industrial park to the south, and we're agreeing to all the conditions. And I'll make that comment at the end as well. The small scale flu amendment, this is my summary, so it's very quick. How about that? It's compatible with your existing development in the area. There's a lot of commercial, industrial, and this is a very low intense medical office, which I think is, and your staff has indicated, is appropriate. The amendment is consistent with the comp plan of Palm Beach County. You can see that in your staff report. We're consistent with all the policies and requirements of the comprehensive plan. It's consistent with the urban suburban tier requirements for the specific flu requested. The property is not located in a neighborhood plan or study area, which is another criteria that we have to meet. The site meets all the facilities and services. It has all services to the facility, water, sewer, and other requirements that are in your criteria. We meet the maximum intensity allowed under the traffic performance standards for the flu amendment. However, you have to understand that we're doing quite a bit less square footage on the property, but we definitely will meet the TPS on that. The applicant agrees with all the conditions of approval that have been put in here, and the staff has indicated the requested flu amendment is consistent and recommends approval. Mr. Chair, I'm finished, and I will be glad to answer any questions. Okay.
No, thank you very much, sir. We appreciate it.
Sure.
Okay. May we hear from staff?
Good morning. For the record, Jorge Perez with the Planning Division. The item before you is a site-specific future land use amendment. The site is approximately 1.66 acres located northwest of the State Road 7 and Lantana intersection. The request is to be amended from residential low, 1 dwelling units an acre, to commercial low office. There is a concurrent zoning application. It would rezone the ag from ag residential to commercial low office. The proposed use is 9,916 square feet of medical and dental office. The site is in red. To the north and the west is the Thoroughbred Lakes residential community. To the south of the site, there are areas designated as industrial by the future land use map. Further south, at the intersection and also east of State Road 7, there are retail and office areas. Today, this 1.66 acre site could develop with one home. The comprehensive plan allows commercial low office uses along an arterial or collector road. Commercial low office restricts the uses to low intensity offices like the ones proposed here. The proposed building on the site would be 100 feet away from the nearest residential community. The proposed use is consistent with the non-residential uses to the south, which were established 20 years ago. The proposed use is consistent with the policies of the comp plan. We recommend approval with the condition that developers provide a vehicular cross-access connection to the property to the south. That is our presentation, and we're available for questions.
Thank you so much. That was something of a record. Okay, let me turn to my commissioners. Let's start with Dagmar down at the end. Any questions for either the applicant or the staff?
No questions or comments.
Penny?
None, thank you.
John?
No questions, thank you.
Barb?
Just a comment. I happen to live near there. I always appreciate seeing a little bit of a site plan, so thank you, and I think this is a most appropriate use. Thank you.
Thank you.
Lori?
Yes, I don't see on the conditions here about the connectivity to the south. So is that something that, you mentioned it in your planning presentation, so should we add that to these conditions that we're approving, if we approve it?
The motion we're requesting is approval with conditions, and
Yeah.
the Exhibit 1 includes the condition language.
Okay, because the only condition I see in Exhibit, no. In Exhibit 1, conditions, development of the site under the commercial low office land use designation is required to provide vehicular cross-access to the property to the south. So that's the conditions, right? Okay, great.
Thanks, Lori. Patty? Nothing? And Ankar?
No questions, thank you.
Excellent, thank you. Do we have a motion?
I'll motion to approve with the conditions.
And
Second.
And a second. Very good. Roll call vote, please.
Oh, that's me. John Carr,
Yes.
Barbara Roth,
Yes.
Lori Vennecore,
Yes.
Penny Pompey, Dagmar Bross, Kylie Harper Larson,
Yes.
Ankor Patel,
Yes.
and Rick Stopik.
Yes.
All right, and that passes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 to 0. Thank you.
Excellent.
Mr.
Thank
Chair
you
and
so much.
Commissioners, thank you so much.
Thank you for coming this morning. We appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, moving on to item 3A2, Windsor Industrial. May we hear from the applicant on that issue?
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the board. Appreciate your time this morning. For the record, Josh Nichols with Schmidt Nichols, agent for the applicant. And I'll get going here this morning. So, yeah, 15, I should be well under that. So try to make new records today. So this is Windsor Industrial, small scale amendment. And our current request, as you can see there in the top, small scale from CL with an underlying 2 to industrial, keeping the underlying 2. And then also modifying conditions of approval from the previous ordinance. So this was previously approved for a convenience store with gas sales, never got built. And then our companion zoning application, similar to what you heard on the previous project, so we do have a rezoning to be consistent with the proposed land use change, development order amendment, again, to remove that gas station use, and variance for a front setback reduction, and a waiver for loading space depth. So again, those are the companion applications. We have not gone to zoning commission yet, so this was our first stop, planning commission, then zoning commission in March, and all goes well, March BCC action on all those items. So this is the subject location. It's a 2.5 acre property located on the west side of Jog Road, just south of Belvedere. It's in the PBIAO. We have the TAPO and the JRCS. So those are the overlays that we're in. And one thing just to point out, so if this is a 2.5 acre site, if it was a 5 acre site, it doesn't require a land use amendment in order to rezone to industrial. So that's just a kind of a interesting thing. So if you remember the McCraney properties that are along the turnpike, those actually went through that action where they're an LR2 land use, but have an industrial zoning. And that's what is allowable in the PBIO, because it does encourage non-residential uses under the flight path. Again, just a quick side note. So August 2007, there was a small scale amendment from LR2 to the CL with the underlying 2. And we're removing the condition that talks about the commercial uses. Obviously, that's no longer applicable, so we would be asking to remove that. 2007, again, Board of County Commissioners approved a Class A conditional use to allow the convenience store with gas sales, so that we are abandoning through the zoning process. And again, they also had a the zoning commission adopted a type 2 variance to allow a reduction in lot depth. So we did already go through, it wasn't use related, but it was dimensional related. So we did go through that. So the existing flue, as I mentioned, commercial low with underlying 2. What I think is interesting is the kind of the dynamic of what's changed in the immediate vicinity. And I'll go into those properties specifically, but as you can see to our north is industrial. That's a 67-acre site that Duke Realty owns and is built out. To our east is a place of worship, and I'll show you a picture of that going up. And to our south is PBSO. They're doing a facility there, a substation facility. And to our west is a working wholesale nursery and contractor storage yard. So again, just the change, I know between the two, you really don't see a huge change, but so that goes from the CL to the IND with the underlying 2. So again, when we talk about compatibility and the change, so as you know, Jog Road is a 6-lane thoroughfare within the county, north-south. So immediately to our north across Belvedere is 1 million square feet that's approved, and about 800 and some odd square feet is built on 67 acres, as you can see there. To our east, immediately across from Belvedere, or across from Jog, is 38,000 square feet, and it's fully built at this point. I think they're kind of topping off the roof now. So if you came up Jog, you would have seen that this morning. To our south, PBSO is building a 33,000 square foot facility for substation, and I think it's part of their marine division as well. So that's a government services. That's on the civic pod of the Terracina PUD. So that's approved and will be starting construction soon. And then to our west is the Armstrong Landscape and Design. So they're about 5 acres immediately adjacent, and they're an active commercial nursery. So again, going through some of the related comp plan, I won't go through each of these in detail, but again, based on what the corridor is showing and the change in the makeup of the uses, we feel it's compatible. We're well below the 0.85 FAR that's allowable, as well as the building coverage that's allowable. It's also in the C51, so that did help to reduce some of the square footage just by default to make sure that we could meet those drainage requirements. Again, policy 2.2.4F, all requests for new industrial shall front arterial collector, so we have that access point onto Jog and solely from Jog. Policy 2.1K shall utilize a series of overlays. So again, we're in that PBIO, which does encourage those non-residential uses in the flight path. So public outreach, as you can see, we don't have anyone here this morning, but we did attempt to reach out to Terracina HOA as well as their management company, left emails, phone calls, and we didn't get any return from them. We did get a letter of support that I believe is included in your package from Mr. Armstrong, who is the adjacent neighbor. So he was in support, and as well as the public notices went out on January 20th to everyone in 500 feet. So I'll let this is the county assessment. They're in agreement with the proposal, and we are in agreement with the conditions of approval. And I'll let them kind of go through some of their assessment side. There are 2 conditions of approval, as you see in the packet. So what this was similar to another project that I believe you approved, which had a similar condition. So for light industrial uses, wanted to restrict some of those commercial uses, which could be like a repair and maintenance type use, which may have some louder sound to it. So that is restricted by way of this condition. So those uses would not be allowed. So this is, again, just to show you, so I know we're not looking at the site plan, but it does help to give you a visual of what we're proposing. So as you can see at the north end of the site, we do have a substantial dry detention, and a lot of that is due to the C51 basin that the project's in. And then we're proposing 35,000 square feet. Where you saw at the very beginning, we talked about that variance. We're pushing the building to the front, so that way the bay doors are not facing the roadway, because you obviously have to have bay doors for light industrial. So what we did is we flipped those facing toward the back. And again, doing so, we did talk to Mr. Armstrong, make sure he was comfortable with that. And he was supporting of that, and zoning has supported that variance to push the building up. So we'll have a nice frontage with a nice modern building and landscaping along that front. And with that, be happy to answer any questions you have.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
May we hear from staff, please?
Good morning. David Willock with the Planning Division. Item for you is a small-scale land use amendment known as Windsor Industrial. The 2.55-acre site is located in the urban-suburban tier on the southwest corner of the intersection of Jog Road and Belvedere Road. The site currently has a commercial low with underlying LR2 flu. The applicant is requesting a change to industrial while maintaining the underlying LR2 to construct 30,499 square feet of warehouse with 4,523 square feet of accessory office. Land use designations in the area are mixed industrial, utility, and residential, with 1 million plus square feet of warehouse to the north, water utility facility to the north also, a nursery to the west, residential property approved for a church to the east, and the civic pod of the Terracina PUD to the south, which is approved for a sheriff's substation. The site was the subject of a previous land use amendment in 2007, which changed the flu from LR2 to the current designation of CL2. The amendment was adopted due to board consensus that changing conditions in the area made the site unsuitable for residential development. Condition was opposed to limit the site to a maximum of 22,215 square feet of area. The previously approved site plan included a 3,500 square foot convenience store with gas sales and 3,500 square foot retail store. They're here on the aerial. Oh, crap.
Back one.
Here we go.
Other way.
Here we go.
There we go. Sorry about that. Here's the aerial of the site. As you can see, the parcel is not directly on Belvedere Road to a realignment of the roadway. The applicant cites this in their justification as a lack of access to Belvedere Road made the site less appealing for commercial development. There we go. Staff has assessed the proposed amendment is consistent with comprehensive plan policies, consistent with the development patterns in the area, and generates less traffic than the previous approval. Therefore, staff recommends approval with conditions added to ensure compatibility with the residential flows in the area. The first condition would limit to light industrial uses only. The second would prohibit commercial uses except for self-storage and accessory uses. To date, one letter has been received in support of the amendment, and that concludes the presentation.
Okay, thank you so much. I remember when I moved here in 1983, the world ended at Jog Road and Belvedere. You couldn't even go west on Belvedere. There was nothing out there. Very good. Well, thank you so much for the presentations. And for the record, we do have a letter from Bruce Armstrong, Armstrong Landscaping. Is Mr. Armstrong in attendance by any chance? No. So I'm assuming we will add his letter, of course, to the record. Basically, for those in attendance, the bottom line is he approves this. He has no issues with it. He reached out to the developer. Everything was amicable. All of the buffers and so on and so forth were appreciated, and he had no issues at all with it. And in fact, he was in favor of it over and above having a gas station there for obvious reasons. So that will be entered into the record. So now I'll turn to my colleagues if they have any questions. Let's start down here with our new fellow, Mr. Patel.
No, I think it's an appropriate use for land, so no questions.
Very good, thank you. Okay.
I concur.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a question. Why is the 35,022 square feet not added to the conditions? Because there were conditions before of it being 22,215.
I believe that may have been as a result of 35D analysis. I'll have David respond to that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I believe that was based in engineering for traffic, for a concurrency reservation. Because it was commercial high, it's a very high intensity traffic generator.
But
Okay.
this one meets 35D at the max potential, so we didn't put a condition related to the square footage.
Okay, thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Barbara?
No comment, thank you.
Thank you. John?
Only question I have, is the applicant okay with the conditions? If I missed it, I apologize.
Yes, we are in agreement with the conditions.
Thank you, no further questions.
Thank you. Eddie? Nothing? And Dagmar?
No questions, no comments.
Wow. Hey, we got time for pancakes today. Okay. Okay then. All right. Well, at that point, then I will entertain a motion.
I'll motion to approve with the conditions.
Commissioner Vinegar? Second. And Commissioner Pompey, thank you. Any discussion amongst the commission? No? Stephanie, maybe have a call?
Yep. So John Carr,
Yes.
Barbara Roth,
Yes.
Lori Vinegar,
Yes.
Penny Pompey,
Yes.
Dagmar Bross,
Yes.
Kylie Harper Larson,
Yes.
Rick Stopik.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry, and Ankur Patel.
Yes.
That passes 8-0.
Wow. Okay, excellent. Thank you so much. All right. Well, that concludes all of the items on the agenda. Do any of my fellow commissioners have any comments that they would like to offer at this time? Or questions? Barb?
Well, again, welcome to Mr. Patel. And if you think this is typical,
Yeah, pack a lunch next time.
have a good weekend, everybody.
John?
Yeah, I would just like to apologize to the commission for my last minute. Had a last minute emergency.
No.
Did not make last meeting. So I did want to apologize.
No worries.
I studied on that whole thing, and not be here for that was.
I missed it too, so that's okay.
I apologize to the commission.
Dagmar? Penny, did you have any comments? No? Dagmar?
I have to say something, sorry. We were going to, and I don't even know if it's already happened, they were going to do a commissioner workshop on the workforce housing. Did that happen already, or is that going to happen?
Yes, so on, what day was that? January 31st, there was a workshop on workforce housing, density. It was kind of a TDRs. It was a broad-based conversation with the board. But as was discussed at that workshop, there are going to be many follow-up meetings with stakeholders, other departments, and we'll be going back to the board at various times, and I'll keep you all informed of that.
That would be wonderful. I was on a cruise, so I could not make it. But I would appreciate any updates
Absolutely.
regarding that issue. Thank you.
Kylie? Comments? Mr. Patel?
Well, I'm appreciative of my first time being this easy. I agree, but I'm not expecting it to be that easy. But I like the projects that came in today, and I thought they were appropriate. And overall, I'm looking to learn a lot from you guys, and I'm happy to be here.
Well, welcome aboard. Okay, cool. No other comments from the dais? Ramsey?
Just welcome the new board members, and if you need any assistance, please let us know. We're more than happy to assist and help you along the way. And hopefully the rest will be this easy.
Cool. Is it? And from our county attorney?
No comments.
Good. And from the planning director?
I will say there'll be probably 2 in a row of relatively smooth planning commission meetings, as March is also expected to be, but be more in April. But also welcome to the new board member, and thanks for your service, as always.
Thank you. Oh, nothing further. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Seconded? Second. See you all in March. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a great weekend.